Hey everyone, I'm doing my John Maxwell. I had a busy day today. I had some training that I had to do with HRPA in the morning, and then I had two interviews. Both of them were online. One is a part-time role with Rogers in one of their retail stores. I am looking for something full-time, but if part-time is what I can get to start, I'll take that. And the other one was with one of the restaurants downtown that's opening. So hopefully something will work out. It was for a hostess job. And I also applied for management positions in the restaurant field because those are the jobs that are opening up now. So let's see. Hopefully something opens up for me. In the meantime, I am looking for any kind of part-time work or even child minding. I've been applying for cleaning jobs in offices. I've been applying in the church, anything really where I can use my skills. And I'm trying also to find maybe if somebody's looking for a live-in caregiver, maybe I can do that kind of a role, because obviously if I'm not working, I can't continue to live where I am now. I have to find something alternative. It would be unfortunate if I have to leave my place, because it's better to be independent than live with people. But, you know, I have to adjust and I have to see how things go. So I'm trying to find something. And again, I would just ask if you know anybody that's willing to put my name forward, please contact me. And I even applied to the security job roles, because if they're willing to train me and help me get that license, why not? Those jobs pay very well. And I just need a day shift. So I'll have to see how things go. I mean, I'm always, I worked in retail, I've worked in that role before, but now with everything, there's licenses. So let's see how it goes. I'm hoping that I won't have to do that, because I'm tired of retraining and retraining and retraining. And I've been applying to jobs in HR since I came here in 2002. And I'm never selected, even with all my skills and qualifications. So I don't know. I'm applying in the US as well. So let's see where something opens up. I would go back to England as well if there's a company willing to relocate me. So today I just wanted to go on to this next chapter. I finished the law of the big Mo, the law of momentum. And today I'm looking at week 17, the law of priorities. So leaders understand that activity is not necessarily accomplishment. So an accomplishment is like graduating. That's an accomplishment, because you've proven yourself, you've studied, you've worked hard. That's an accomplishment. Getting Employee of the Month, that's an accomplishment. Learning new skills and getting a certificate for them, that's an accomplishment. Activity, you can just be active and not accomplish anything. So for us, we are focused on accomplishing things, and we're focused on getting the results that we want. If we're not getting the results, then it's just activity. It's like with me, if I had stayed in the call center and I hadn't I hadn't hit my targets, it would have just been activity, because it would have meant that I wasn't learning anything, I wasn't open to growing, I wasn't open to helping myself. Unfortunately for me, my ears, I can't do that kind of work anymore, or I have to have a low pressure environment, because my ears are painful. Even now, this ear today is painful. So it's just a matter of adjusting and finding something else, something more suitable. And I'm hoping that since there's less temporary foreign workers coming in to help in restaurants, maybe that's something I could do. Because a lot of places are closing, even the places that deal with the internet service providers like Bell. A lot of them are not hiring that many positions. So I have to see how it goes, but I'm focused on my goal of getting another full-time role And I even apply to Teleperformance. I apply for some of the more senior positions, not only here, but also they have positions open in the UK, and they offer relocation packages. So I've applied for positions in the UK, positions in the US, and I have to wait and see. Maybe one of those will work out for me. So this chapter today, or this section today, it's basically telling us we have to focus on what is most important for us. And when Peter was a young fisherman in Galilee, I'm sure he didn't imagine that he was going to become the rock upon which Christ built his church. And I don't think he could have foreseen that. But God had something big in mind for him. God had his own plan for Peter, and God's will was accomplished through him, like many leaders. So we have to learn how to put things first, and we also have to learn how to watch others, and then from watching people we grow from that. It's the same thing as when, say for example, with baking. I used to take the books and read them and bake. But here in Canada, we're lucky. We can go onto YouTube and we can watch how the experts do it. We can watch how they bake, what they do, and then we can learn from that, because when you are watching somebody, it's easier than you just trying to do it on your own. It's much harder when you're doing it that way. And if you're learning from a professional, it's much easier as well. So we're fortunate today we have technology. We don't have to have somebody come here physically and show us. There's a lot of things I've learned from watching YouTube, including fixing my phone, changing things in the apartment. There's a lot I've learned from just watching that on YouTube. So we can watch others and we can learn, and we can do that with anything. In the contact center, when I worked at Teleperformance, because I was one of the top employees, when the new people came in, the supervisors and the operations managers used to ask me, Belinda, is it okay if somebody sits with you today? Because you're the best of the best. We want them to learn from you. And of course, I used to say, yes, of course it's okay for them to sit with me. I don't have any problem with that, because somebody did that for me. When I joined, when I was on other initiatives within the company, they used to take us, we used to have at least a week or 2 weeks where we could just sit and watch how the others handled the calls, how they took the chats, what they did. We could learn from the way they spoke to people. We could learn from them how to shorten the calls, or how to make sure that we got the right information for them, which systems to look at. Because it's not that simple like saying, oh, you're just taking a call. You have 5 or 6 different places that you have to pull up. You have to check, you have to research, and if that information is not there, you have to go on the internet and find an alternative source where you can guide the customer. So it's not as easy as, oh yeah, you're just taking the call or the chat or the email. There's a lot of work that goes into that. So I was fortunate in that way, that in that job I had people to teach me, to train me, people who I could shadow, and then people shadowed me. That wasn't the case with project management, where I was working as an executive. It wasn't the case when I did project coordination. It wasn't the case when I went in and did all my short-term executive assistant roles. I didn't have anybody to shadow. I didn't have anybody to guide me. And I just had to go in and perform. I might have had 1 or 2 days where the director sat with me and said, okay, this is how I do it, and this is how I want you to do it. And I did very well with those roles. There wasn't much hand-holding for me, so it was hard for me. But I was fortunate at Teleperformance because I had that. I had that guidance, I had that training, and we used to do compliance training. We were trained on dealing with money laundering. We were trained on phishing, where people try to get your information. We were trained on a whole lot of things. So it's unfortunate that I don't have a position with them, because the ideal thing would have been for me to get into the next level and to stay with them. But again, I have to put food on the table and I have to eat. It's like the story in the Bible of when the fishermen go out in John 21, 1-19. They go out and they've been fishing the whole night and they haven't caught anything, and Jesus comes to them and says, you need to throw your nets onto the other side. And they catch a load so big the nets can't even hold it. And then Jesus says, I'm going to make you fishers of men. So it's a similar thing to that. Sometimes maybe we're not looking in the right place. Maybe we're not focused on the right opportunities. But hopefully I hit that right opportunity and I hit that right place and I get a job. So that's what we have to do. We have to try different things. We have to be open to trying different techniques. I do a lot of cold calling, and I do a lot of going out, walking the pavements, talking to people, telling them who I am. And many of them will say, oh, you know what, email me your resume. If I hear of anything, I'll pass it on. Or they'll say, pass me, just when you get home, email me your resume. And we'll take it from there. If something opens up, then we'll let you know. And in my area, people have been very good like that. I've been to law firms. I've been to the veterinary places around here, to retail. I've been to all of them. With the retail, like with the grocery stores, they tell you, oh, you have to look online. But many of them have told me, you know what, come back in October because that's when we'll do the seasonal hiring. And others of them have said, you know what, we don't have anything, but send us your resume. If we hear of somebody looking for somebody that can help with admin skills or customer service, then we'll call you. So it's good that way, because if you're just sitting at home and you're not meeting people, you're not going out, you're not networking, it's very hard. It's much harder because you're one of thousands of people applying online for those jobs. And John Maxwell just says that God blesses the right activities, and the results do come. Sometimes they take a long time to come, but sometimes they come quickly. So we have to keep pressing, we have to keep pushing forward. One of the things that I do from here is I help Wits University, and they manage everything out of the US because we couldn't get the support here that we needed for our alumni. Initially we did when we had our events and everything, but then they didn't give me the support I needed, so they moved everything to the US. But I keep an eye out on things there as well. And I do use my voice because I'm part of the diaspora as somebody who was born in Zimbabwe and who studied in South Africa. We also push the political leaders to say, come on, fix the electricity problem. I mean, how many millions are you losing? By you fix the electricity problem, other things will fall into place. So we do things like that from here. We use our voices on social media. We reach out to people. We do advocacy work. We do activism work. And our voices do make a difference. They do matter. So we have to keep pressing on. We have to keep pushing. And because at the end of the day, you never know. If you have to go back to your country, if you've done good from wherever you are, that good hopefully will come back to you. So today's point or today's question is, how do you decide what comes first? How do you decide on your priorities? And you have to look at what is most urgent, what is most pressing, what things can you leave for later, and you have to accomplish the things that are critical first and the things that are urgent first. It's like drinking water. If you don't drink water, you're going to die, just like everything else. So you have to drink water to live. That's how you have to decide what is most urgent, what is most critical that you need to get done. John M. Goddard says, if you really know what you want out of life, it's amazing how opportunities will come to enable you to carry them out. So that's a positive thought. I mean, I think it depends. I know with the drought and everything that's taking place right now in southern Africa, where some of us are praying for rain for the area. And we're praying for things to get better in Canada, because really things are really, really bad. There's so many opportunities that I've applied for, and I just get email after email saying, sorry, this position has been cancelled. Sorry, this position has been put on hold. We're not hiring anymore for this position. So, you know, things are bad. For me, I had hoped that when I got that job at Teleperformance, I would be able to stay there. Unfortunately, that's life. Things change and you have to carry on and you have to look for that next role. And there's no certainty here. That's why people build relationships. That's why the networking comes in. There are people who have lived their whole lives and they've gone, because of their networking and because of who they know, they've worked in banking their whole lives. Or they'll be moved from one bank to the other bank in permanent roles. They won't have any gaps in their career. And then there's people like me who come in and we have to be willing to take whatever we get, because our credentials and all of that are good. But at the same time, they have people that they know in their families who they will put in those positions. So that's why for me, if I get an opportunity to go to England or to go to America, I would take those. I would be more skeptical about going to Singapore because I don't know anybody there. But if I have to, obviously I'll take it and go. The other thing is that we also, in Canada, we have to consider the political landscape behind it. Because we've had people that have been kidnapped in these countries. And they weren't doing anything wrong. They were organizing like tours and things like that. But as they were going home, they've been ambushed and kidnapped. And then, you know, people like me will tweet and ask the political leaders, bring them home. You know, they need to come home. And because of that pressure, they will act on it. So our voices matter and our lives matter, and each decision that we take matters. Because it's not only about saving our own families and making sure our own families are safe in Canada. It's also about the broader picture of what's happening. And that's what we do in Canada. It's something that is important in our country. So I hope that helps you. And it's the 21 most powerful minutes in a leader's day. I'm doing everything I can to stay positive, to eat healthy, to make sure I socialize and also enjoy some of this downtime before my next opportunity comes, and making sure I read books like this that will help me.